Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Diaries. I'm your host, Mitchell Rulaine, and this is the podcast show for the average Joe. Find out what regular people in everyday society are fighting with and struggling with and hear their wonderful, awesome, extraordinary ideas. Follow us, please, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and a host of all other podcast platforms. Almost like tripped up there. And also, if you want to watch the actual video, the video cast of the show, then come to YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share, hit the notifications for more episodes. We constantly produce content once a week, usually multiple times a week. I also do the spoken word sessions where it's just me, and I'm talking about things in life. I'm telling stories, reading poetry, reading short stories from people. Last week, I did a story by Giorgio Ferreira called Mud on My Ego. It's really cool. Check it out. I might have a link in it somewhere around here. I'll put in there later. But today, we have a really good friend of mine from Australia, the Outback, named Connery Lee.
Yo, what is up, guys?
What's up, bro?
Oh, just woke up, so yeah.
He is. Tell everybody what time it is in Australia. For where I'm at right now, everybody, it's about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And for Connery, it's
5:15 a.m.
5:15 a.m. This is why this guy is a trooper. He's hardcore to get up and be on the show. So we really appreciate that, Connery. Thanks for sacrificing your beauty sleep for us. So tell us, what's the weather like in Australia right now?
Right now it's been like windy. It's like windy, cloudy. You get a few days that are like really good when it comes to like, the sun, but to be honest, it's still cold right now. I'm like freezing, but I don't know. I just take the cold and just soldier on.
What's the what's the temperature like out there?
I'm not good with temperature. I just know everyone.
Oh, okay. It's cold. I gotcha. And you're in what is it? Brisbane? Am I saying that right? Brisbane?
No, I'm in Gold Coast now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in Gold Coast.
There's I don't know much about Australia except for Crocodile Dundee and Steve Irwin. That's the only thing I really know about Australia, and koalas, because I didn't pay attention in class when we were talking about the Australian culture. Well, I know I read a book that had something to do with the Aborigines. Have you ever met any people that are Aborigines?
Yeah, for sure. We call them like, I guess the correct term is indigenous people. We call them indigenous people, but what is it? We've definitely met. I've definitely met a few of them, and I used to go because back in primary school and even high school, like Australia is such a multicultural, diverse group of people. So there's Asians, there's Africans. There's Australians, there's European people, and there's indigenous people as well. So we grew up with a lot of color.
A lot of color. That's good, man. Variety is the spice of life. I always try to tell people. That's why I have like a multitude of different kinds of friends from, just different cultures and backgrounds and stuff like that. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Connery. I feel like we're on a dating show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Connery.
I guess I'm 20 years old. I do work online. I'm an investor, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much
now. You were a bodybuilder, right?
I did fitness modeling, and I did men's physique back when I was 17 years old. The reason why I got into that was because I went through acne, and I went through a laser procedure. So I had my face burnt, and for me, when I was young, I went through so much, like coming from a dysfunctional family, like suffered from depression, anxiety, like being suicidal. And for me, like back in the day when I was young, fitness for me was like an outlet. So I would use fitness. And when I went through, that laser procedure and having my face burns, I felt like all my self-confidence and self-esteem was taken away from me. So I felt like I had to prove myself to my peer groups at high school and just people in general. So, I told everyone I had the biggest mouth, and I told everyone. And this was when I like lost like my muscle and everything. And yeah, I told everyone I'm going to compete in a bodybuilding show. I'm going to come first. I'm going to go viral on YouTube. And yeah, and this is I said it before. I made those goals before I knew what I was doing, and I just committed to them, and I did it, and I achieved them. So yeah.
So how long did you acne? When did you start getting really bad acne? The reason I'm asking because I used to have bad acne when I was a teenager. Well, not like super bad, but pretty bad from like when I got into adolescence, probably about to my late teens, and it started going away. But when did you start getting like acne and stuff like that?
So I started getting like just like a whole bunch of pimples back in grade 5, and I think that was me just going through puberty and going through stress. But for me, I had like no self confidence and like no self esteem. So I always exaggerated. Like how your brain just like magnifies a problem. So I started in grade 5, but it got really really bad. Like, and it was constant. It was constant throughout the years, but it got really really bad back in grade 11, and that's when I went through massive depression, and no one really knew that I went through depression, and I didn't know what I was going through massive depression until I looked back into it, like look back on it. And there was days that like there were days where I just being in class where I just wanted to like die, but I thought that was normal, and like time slowed down, and it was just really horrible. And that was probably the pinnacle, grade 11. And this was when I was like going through my eating disorders as well. I wasn't barely eating any food and barely sleeping, and I was just in a really really messed up headspace.
Yeah, I know what it feels like to do well the acne part definitely. Because it really does hurt your self-confidence. I used to not like a lot of people didn't know this, but I didn't want to like go out. I definitely didn't want pictures taken of me. And I used to have really, really long hair and I always wore it down over my face to try to cover up my bumps and stuff like that. And so I know what it feels like to have to deal with that. It's such a terrible, terrible thing. What is the procedure that you did? You said it was like a laser, it burned your face. Like what's that all about? I don't think I've ever heard of
Yeah, I
that.
did like a CO2 fractional laser and all of that. And the procedure was they actually like stuck 16 needles in my face first. And then they had three different lasers. And the first laser was just, it was crazy. It literally, they did it for like half a minute, but it felt like somebody like poured like boiling water on your face, and you literally smelt your skin like being burnt. And this was still when I was awake. And even though I had like the 16 needles, which were like anesthetic, I could still feel it. And it was just like I've snapped my leg in like 5 places and dislocated it. I've done a backflip and landed on my neck. I've like dislocated my own collarbone and stuff like that. But this was one of like the most like it was such a unique pain of like just burning. It was essentially like burning your face, and it was crazy. So that was the first laser, and the second laser felt it wasn't as bad as the first laser, but it still hurt like a bitch. And the last laser felt like more like a tattoo gun. It was just very. It was like a tattoo gun, but it was like really like it was a tattoo gun on steroids, and it was just yeah, it was still
Now
painful.
they did all the procedures all at the same time, or you did like one and then you had to
No,
like
I did it all at the same time. I was like, if I'm gonna, my personality is if I'm gonna do something, I commit to it. So I was like, I'm only gonna have one procedure. I'm not gonna worry about. I'm just gonna get over and done with. Because my story with my scars as well is I like most of my scars came from like razor blade scars. So and they were really deep. And every time I looked at my face and the razor blade scars, it just reminded me of like the past, which I just wanted to leave behind.
The razor blade scars, that's like self-inflicted? Like you did that to yourself?
It wasn't self-inflicted, but like like it's in Asian tradition. So you know how when you get cupped, the
Oh,
Vietnamese.
okay, right. I should know this. I should
Yeah,
know.
and then when they cup you, they cut you with a razor. They did that to my face, and I had like hundreds of razor blade scars on my face, and they were deep. So
That, like you can't really tell now. Like your face looks pretty smooth and clean. Like I can't really see any scarring.
yeah. Oh, I'd say like people only see the results, but they don't see like all of the work. And there's been points, and this still comes up to this day. Like a lot of people think I'm like in a like better position in life, which I am, but like they don't understand that like I've gone through like, and maybe because I still haven't like found what I want to do in life, but I still go through so many emotional breakdowns, and there's days where I feel lost, and like for me, I'm just going through life, just giving it all I have, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. They look, a lot of people look up to me, but they don't realize that to be in this position and to keep moving forward in life, it's just constant work, like working yourself, working towards where you want to go, and you're just facing so many like uncertain emotions, and just it's yeah. Right now, like me working on myself, like me being in a relationship, I'm constantly working towards being comfortable with being vulnerable now, and that's that's what you have to do in a relationship. And sometimes that's why I see a lot of people like, I know I'm going off track, but the point I'm trying to make is when it comes to like being in a better position in life, you have to constantly keep working. And you see a lot of people who achieve so-called success, but they go through hell.
I love your the fact that you're only 20 years old and you're so like into like self-improvement and trying to find yourself in this life, and that is crazy. He's like, you're like the only like person that's this young that has that kind of ambition, and it's wild, but it's beautiful, it's wonderful, because usually people that are like that are deeper about themselves, they don't really kind of find that pinnacle until like later on, maybe mid 20s, late 20s, 30s, 40s, even sometimes 50. And you're a 20-year-old guy, young guy, and you're already trying to like grab your life by the balls. And I love it, man. I love your sense of urgency. It's great. It's great, man.
It has a lot to do like, and that's the thing too. Like you hear a lot of people like, if you hear me like talk as well, like I believe that you should really focus on your life when you're young. But a lot of people are like 25 or 28, and they've had their fun, and that's fine. Like life is, there shouldn't be, you shouldn't like put stress on yourself, and I'm guilty of this as well. You shouldn't put stress on your timeline and where you should be at at age, because even 30 years old is still young. But the reason why I'm like this as well is because my close friends who are like 19, who are like 20 years old, they're all really, they're like, honestly, I can say they're like high status people as well. So it's also my peer groups I'm with. So, all of the stuff I've done, like, even though I should give myself more self credit, I think that's natural. I think because I'm so used to being around those types of people that it's normal for me.
That's good, man. That's if those are the kind of people that are in your life, man, you gotta stick with them forever. It's like Jim Rohn used to say, the late motivational speaker. He said that you are the 5 people that you surround yourself around the most. So like whoever you're surrounding yourself, and really, he said he put a number on it, 5. But I was reading a book. It's really just whoever you surround yourself around the most is who you are. It's who you become. That's why, like when I was growing up as like a young kid and a teenager, like all of my core group of friends, which is like anywhere from like 5 to 7 guys, we all were very similar. We shared similar ideals and aspirations, and people would always think we were brothers or something like that, just because we were so very similar, and we became each other. And so like it's whoever you're around is who you become. Like it's what influences you. So if you're around a bunch of shit people that complain about things and they don't have dreams, then that's what you're going to be. You can be like, oh yeah, well, I just get this job at Walmart and try to get good benefits and work up to manager position and stuff like that. Like, and I'm being unfair. Like, there are people that love doing what they do if they work at Walmart and stuff like that. But my point is like, for some people, the majority of people I've met, it's a very toxic life. Like, they don't want to live that life, but they do it anyways because they feel that's what's expected of them. All their friends do it, all their families do it. And it's just this weird mentality. And I, like, in this part of my life, I've been trying to stay away from people like that because they are dangerous. People that don't have ambitions and goals and they on your dreams and stuff like that, they are so dangerous, man, because they're going down this dark spiral. It'd be like being with a friend who's like very influential and they're like really bad in drugs and they're getting involved with like dangerous gangs and stuff like that. But you're influenced by them. And so like, it's a scary thing. And I feel like people's mentality can be just as dangerous as people's like what they're doing physically. You know what I mean? Because like it can put you in a bad spot.
Exactly. And like for me, when it comes to mentality, like it's so, to the majority of people, it's so underrated, and I've fallen off like the track many of times, like with mentality wise. And I'm still recovering from like a few months ago. But that's the thing too, when it comes to your mentality, you have to like understand that when you're in this certain type of mentality, there's life throws stuff at you that's gonna like, break you down. And when it breaks you down, it's more about how you can get up, as cliche as that sounds, but it's about rebuilding yourself to becoming stronger. And one of the quotes that I love, it's by Robert Kiyosaki. He talks about not becoming like hard rock where you can't break, but also not becoming fragile like a snowflake, but it's becoming anti-fragile where you can shatter me all you like, but every time you do, I'm going to become a stronger person. And that's what life is. It's about being able to adapt to a situation because life is so unpredictable. And me being in a relationship and all of that too, like, has made me like really, start caring for people, not just my girlfriend, but just people in general as well now. And it's just so weird being, this vulnerable, and like, what happens if I like lose this? Because I actually lost a family member like 3-4 weeks ago. And it really made me like reflect on like, how short life is. And, tomorrow is not a guarantee. Like, so, I'm still learning how to be grateful every single day. Just like, yeah.
It's a really hard thing, and it's a constant thing that I think people wrestle with. For people that are aware of it, anyway, it's something I wrestle with every day too, man. Trying to be grateful for what I do have. I was telling my girl the other day, I was like, I have a lot of these dreams and these ambitions and goals that I'm gonna ascertain. I was like, but like I really love my life now. Like, I have so many blessings in my life, and I'm so comfortable, and I'm living life very, very wealthy right now. And I was like, right now is good. Right now is good. Like, if I had to clock out of this place, of this world, I wouldn't, like, I'd feel good about it. Like, obviously there'd be things that I wish I could have attained, but either way, the things I have attained up to this point they're magic. It's magical. So, it's a constant struggle. Do you think, you said being in your relationship, it's really kind of helped open your eyes to, that kind of stuff? Tell me about your relationship. What's your romance like? If I can ask that.
I won't go too deep into details because obviously, yeah. But we're like polar opposites. I have like, I'm always like energetic and she's always calm and chilled, so the dynamic really works. Like, pretty much everything, like we're polar opposites. Like, my body temperature is always hot and she's always cold. Like,
Opposites attract, though, right? You get that dynamic.
yeah,
She
literally,
offers
like,
what you have, and you offer what she doesn't have.
yeah, pretty much like we're total, like, I would have never thought I would have had like a partner, with her personality, but it really works out well. And, like, we haven't been together for like too long, but it feels like 2 years. And like, all I can say is that we're really deep with each other, and we know where we're going in the future.
Do you and your significant other, you challenge each other? You think you push each other?
Always, always, which is like, which is crazy, because like a lot of people, like, people who aren't in relationships, I think being in a relationship, is all like, fun and like rainbows. But when you get down to it, it's like, it's work, but it's worth it. It's like anything in life. Like, it requires work, and it requires a lot of sacrifice, a lot of compromise, and you're risking your emotional vulnerability. You're risking so much, but at the end of the day, like, you have to just dream big, and just do it. That's all I'll say. That's the best. That's the best thing that I can give you. And nothing is a guarantee, but all you can do in life is show up and put yourself in the best situation, and just do it and give it all you have. And if it doesn't work out, then reevaluate how you can improve on the next time. But that's life.
I agree with you 100%, man. Also, I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying. Like, it is good for people to be people to have they contrast with each other, because they have opposite. The way they do things and the way they are is opposite. But I also feel like for those people to be kindred with each other, they also have to have they're opposite with everything they do, but their emotions are the same. Like you might be very different from your significant other, but her psyche and her emotions are very similar to yours. That's why you connect.
Yeah, you have to be on the same page, and you have to be genuine with, you have to be genuine with your intentions. You have to understand both of your intentions, because the way I look at stuff, it's not really about, like, there's instant gratification, but there's also, the longevity of something. So you have to be on the same page. And I'm just so lucky. I'm just, and trust me, like, I've analyzed it so much, and I've gone through the waves, but I'm honestly lucky to be in this position. And the reason why I don't say, the reason why I say position is because, your position can always, change. That's what I'm saying. It takes constant work. You have to work to deserve to be in that position, and vice versa.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. That's cool, dude. Well, I'm happy for you, man. Super, super happy. That's awesome.
It's my first ever relationship too.
I
So
was actually, yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. I was like, so is this like your first like serious relationship? So apparently it is. So you didn't have no romance prior to this? You didn't have any little girlfriends in high school or?
no,
Interesting. That's so crazy because you're a good looking guy. You've got muscles.
well, I mean, for me, it was like more of a self-confidence thing, and that's something as well. Last year, I became like a stripper and a topless waiter, just to like gain the skill of talking to girls, and I was completely petrified of, like, chatting to girls. Now I acquired that skill, but you know, yeah, it's just, I did a lot of things to get myself out of my comfort zone. And even though I'm a good looking guy, like, it's also about your skill as well. You can have the product, you can have a good looking product, but if you don't know how to like use that product.
That's very true. Yeah, it's like that guy that's trying to make up the big hole in his ego, and he buys the big sports car, but he never barely ever takes it out, and he doesn't know how to drive it.
Exactly, yeah.
He's got this Maserati, and he doesn't even know how to put it in the third gear. Oh my god, like Matt over here. I'm kidding, Matt doesn't have a Maserati. What kind of car do you drive? Malibu? Yeah, he doesn't want me to talk about his car. He's like me giving his personal business. Oh my god. So the after you did the laser treatment on your face for the acne, did it go away? Like how long did that take for it to go
It
away?
took about 6, 7 months, and I had to stay in. I had to stay indoors for the first 7 weeks, completely indoors, and it
So
drove.
you couldn't go to school.
No, no, no. Well, I did it on Christmas. I did it around Christmas before my
Dude,
birthday,
that
and
sucks on
no,
Christmas.
I did it. I did it at the start of December. So
So you still got to enjoy opening presents and stuff though, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, I went crazy. Like I wanted to commit suicide. And then when you actually see your face, you're like, because there was no guarantee that it would work out as well. There was a 50% chance that it would have made my skin worse.
Before you did the laser stuff, did you try anything else like other topical stuff, Accutane?
No, well, I didn't, because I got rid of the acne. The part now, it was the scars. It was the razor
Oh,
blades.
okay. I see. I get it now. So you got rid of the acne, and now you were trying to get rid of the scarring from when you were doing your treatments for your face. Okay. Did you think so? Then did the acne go away from the Asian treatment?
No, 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 no. I had to figure everything out, which was lifestyle and pretty much diet for me.
I was reading this article written by a doctor. I think he was from Australia. I don't know. It's been years and years ago. I was a teenager. I was like, I don't know, 15. I was reading this article, and he was saying that a lot of people that if they suffer from acne, sometimes it's because a lot of it's hormonal, adolescence and stuff like that. But then he was saying there's this thing, there's myotoxins that are in the liver, and they're not filtering it out properly. So then those toxins, they go out everywhere. The liver's not correctly filtering it. So then these toxins go out and they try to escape through the largest pores in your body, or the largest organ in your body, which is your skin, and then that's what creates like the whiteheads and acne and all that stuff.
And that's completely true. Like I've done liver flushes, and I've done like gallbladder flushes and all of that. I've pretty much tried almost everything you can in the book besides Accutane, because I wanted to figure it out naturally. And for me, I really was able to like narrow it down and pinpoint it on my diet and more about my internal dialogue. Because when I also had my laser, I had the risk of it becoming way worse when I first started, a 50% chance. But also, if I broke out as well during the recovery period, which was months, I would have, the laser would have been no point to it. So I was also battling that as well. So yeah, so like when people watch my video and like, oh, like, you know, you made it, and I did make it, but they don't understand all of the stuff that could have gone wrong. Like, and for me, it was more about focus. It was more about just believing, and I really, really got out of my comfort zone. And that's what I was saying. Like, I had to stay indoors for 7 weeks. And when you're staying indoors for 7 weeks, I was literally in my room. Like, I was too depressed to go out. And I was just cooped up in my room. And then when you're in your room, you go through, obviously, you know, like different types of thoughts. And, you know, I was doubting myself, and, you know, maybe suicide was the way to go, and stuff like that. But I just kept, you know, focusing on what I wanted, and it was hard too, because my skin looked like that when I went out in public, when I went out to school. So now I have to also have the challenge of, you know, wearing a big farmer's hat, having like my face all red, and like this was my last year of high school, and having like white face all over my face, and, you know, everywhere you walk, people just stare at you. And that too was just, oh, and this was also when I gained weight as well, because I couldn't exercise. So I was literally in my room, and I like had like puffy cheeks, and was just, yeah, crazy. And then
One thing I want to say though about the people looking at you sometimes, and I read like there's a lot of the human psychology of it behind dysmorphia, and I'm not saying you have this, but where we feel like people like, you know, like people are watching and looking, and even if somebody is looking at you, it doesn't always mean that, you know, they're looking at you like, oh, look at his face, or look how fat that person is, or look how ugly they are. It's like it's something that we make up in our own heads. So you think that maybe that might have been you a little bit? Like you just those people might have been looking, or maybe they were just
No, no. I mean, if you saw my face, like, there's definitely people. Like, I mean, I had people like take photos of me and like,
they took photos of you.
yeah, and they post it like they're talking like, and they're posting on their social medias. Like, I mean, it was like, and it was like I had to carry an umbrella around as well. I could not have any chance of touching the sun. Face mask, all of that, and that was to school every day.
I could understand people looking because obviously I probably would look too, but I wouldn't be looking like, oh my god, ew, look at them. But I'd be like, oh, I wonder what's going on with that guy. Is that like something happened to his face, or he had surgery? And that's the stuff that would be going through my head, but not like, oh my god, look at this freak and stuff. I mean, people are such assholes, dude. You can't worry about those people. Those people are cattle.
Looking back at it, like, some people were just looking because like what happened, but when you're in that type of like when you come out of like you pretty much like being in your room, you've gone through all of that, and you come out in public now, and you have to go through, and this is when like I hadn't really nothing. I'm like, fuck, I got to do something to redeem myself, and I'm still doing it to this day, but it's more what I'm doing now to achieve stuff. It's more for me, and it's more for my future. So it's different to when I was young now.
It's crazy, dude, that you went through that. You went through like your identity issues and your image or aesthetics, but then like you do like modeling and all this stuff. So it's such an interesting dynamic of how that all works. You have came a long way, dude.
I mean, I still go through identity issues. I mean, I'm still finding myself. Like last year, that's why I bleached my hair white, because I created like a new character for myself, and that new character like helped me.
You look like a Dragon Ball Z character.
Yeah, it literally helped me beat a lot of like my self-destructive habits, and I haven't turned back to those self-destructive habits. Like I'm a new person. But when I had to bleach my hair back, I mean, not bleach it, dye it back to black so I could meet my girlfriend's parents.
Oh no, that was a thing.
Yeah, that really, like, I was like, who am I again? But now I'm getting comfortable like with the real me, like with the vulnerable me, and just learning to like really love myself for who I am. And like that's all you can do. Like you just have to accept yourself for who you are, and it's easier said than done. But I'm still learning it. I'm still practicing it, and at the end of the day, it's for me. It's for my partner, and it's for my future, and it's for my success, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah, dude, I see it too. This is why I really liked you, and I took a shining to you, Connery, just because like, and I'm not trying to pride myself on anything, but I've always felt like I'm a very good judge of character. Like I've just always been very perceptive, even at an early age. Like I watch really weird, minute details on people. I watch the way people move, the way they speak, their body language, right? And from the beginning, like with you, and I was watching your videos and stuff like that, like I could see how some people who didn't know who you were, if they saw you at first talking to like the typical judgmental people, be like, "Oh, he's this good-looking, muscular guy. Like this guy, he's whatever." But like, I didn't see that because like actually listened to you talk and stuff like that. And I was like, "There's a lot more to this guy." Like, I feel like you're real. You're a real person. And what I mean by that is like, what you see is what you get. Like, you're pretty upfront. You're pretty honest about shit. And I feel like I hate that you went through all that stuff in your life and you still deal with issues now. But I feel like that's what makes you such a real human being, like somebody who's authentic. And I like that. I like that realness, man. Like I like people that wear their heart right here and you can see it. Like they're not trying to trick you. They're not fooling you. They're not bullshitting you all around the place. Like what you see is what you get. And that's what I saw in you. And so far, I mean, I still don't know you like super well, but based on what I do know, I feel like I could say wholeheartedly that you're an OG, man. You're authentic. You're a real guy, and that's why I liked you. But no, yeah, I mean that stuff though, sincerely. I want to talk to you about like the weightlifting stuff because that's also something that's pretty close to me too. I've always been into health and fitness, exercise, and training and weightlifting and stuff. So, how did you get into want to do that? Did you play sports in school, or you just wanted to lift weights, or what? What was your inspiration for?
Well, when I was young, like my mom used to like force me to do swimming, so like I guess I kind of did like squad training And I guess I was kind of a competitive swimmer, but I hated that. And then back in like,
Why don't you like swimming?
it's just so repetitive. It's like I mean, it's kind of ironic too, like when it comes to like it being repetitive, and gym is also repetitive as well. But like, being young, I didn't have a choice, and when you're young and you're forced to do something and you don't see the purpose of it, it yeah, it's draining. So for me, that was an issue. But being a kid, you know how you used to like watch parkour. I don't know if you were that that type of kid. Yeah, and like all kids were like, I really enjoyed watching parkour when I was in grade 6, grade 7, and so I used to like try to practice it. But I was like, how can I do flips and all of that? And so I started gymnastics when I was in grade 6, and actually grade 7 I stopped, and I wanted to do it competitively. Like I wanted to go to the Olympics because I was like fully committed with anything I did. And for me, the reason why I tried to find like an outlet in sports was because I failed all through primary school. I got kept down in grade 1. Um, and for me, because I had like ADHD and like I could not focus, so I got kept down in grade 1. My self-esteem was so low. Like I would wet myself in class because I was too afraid to put my hand up to talk and say I needed to go to the toilet. Like I got bullied. I got bullied in primary school. Um, like physically bullied, like like emotionally bullied as well. But so that's why, like, there's a lot of things why I failed like all the way through primary school. I just didn't focus, and I could never sleep. And yeah, I was always just anxious about the future and what life had to like, what's the point of my life? I was already thinking like that type of stuff when I was in grade 2. Like, yeah. And yeah. And so I would only get like looking back at it because I have a really good memory. I can recall stuff. But I would sleep like literally like only like 4 hours a day and all of that back when I was in grade 1, grade 2. So that was also a reason why I couldn't focus. But I I have like ADHD and all of that, and I was just always anxious. And yeah, so for me, sports wasn't, if I can't achieve anything academically, I'm going to do it physically. But I broke my leg on Christmas Day, literally on Christmas Day in 5 places, dislocated at 90 degrees.
How the hell did you do that, man?
I mean, it's funny now because the move that I was trying to do was a front handspring on a trampoline, and I stuffed it up, but I can do that move drunk off an object. Like, but yeah. And so when I did that, it really shattered. I didn't walk for 6 months as well. That's how bad it was.
Did you have to have surgery?
Well, they would have had to cut me open, but I was so lucky because if I didn't dislocate my ankle, because when they put it back, everything aligned. So I was so lucky, but I did not, and it was crazy. And yeah, that really shattered my personality. And so after grade 7, I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what's the point of life? I got nothing to show for it. I mean, I'm already thinking like this back in grade 7. And that's when I got back into like gaming. I'm a massive Battlefield player. I don't play games anymore, but I'd play like 12 hours straight for like 7 days a week. This was on like the school holidays. And for some reason that trained my like brain, because like ADHD, when you have ADHD, it's like it's bad, but when you can train it, and I didn't know it at this time, but when I started playing games, it trained my brain, and literally all the way through most of high school, I started getting like straight A's or B's, and I didn't study.
Like it forced your mind into this structured discipline to like follow patterns and stuff like that. I know a lot of games can do that for people.
Yeah, and so for me, I played Battlefield. I was a like first person.
So I feel like you should contact Battlefield and you should be like a sponsor for them to show them like they're like that'd be so cool. Like you're like, oh yeah, this is what you'd have to have the like. Oh, these are the grades I made before. And then I played Battlefield, ladies and gentlemen, and these are the grades I make now. So download Battle Grounds or whatever today. Yeah.
I've spent like 3,000-4,000 hours.
Jesus Christ, bro, that's commitment,
I
man.
mean, when I played, I like And I don't, yeah, and literally like people thought I was like hacking the game. That's how good I was. Like,
Yeah, I mean, well, repetition is the master of success. So you do something over and over and over again, you just become it. Yeah, and then so then after that, you started making good grades, and then what? And then you started weightlifting after that.
yeah, I started weightlifting because my friend, yeah, my childhood best friend, I met him in grade 6, but he's always motivated, and he's doing really well. He's got a marketing agency. He's making like 7 figures a year. He's a good looking. He's 20 years old, good looking, 6'3" model guy. Like he was picked on all the way through high school. Like him and I stuck together, and we would always dream big. Like we would always eat lunch by ourselves and say, like, we would always watch motivational videos back in grade 8, and we would say one day we're gonna make it.
Dude, that's awesome to be young kids and to find somebody else like that. And you said you're still really close with this gentleman now as well?
Yeah, we actually had like a falling out back in 2018, but we've reconnected, and yeah, like him and I are good friends, but we're doing our own things. Obviously, I'm busy with my life. He's busy with his life, but he got me into like social media. He got me into investing. He got me into like training. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really awesome to have somebody like that, man. And you because you said you guys were eating alone, but you weren't alone. You had each other sitting there.
yeah. We had each other, but like yeah, like like everyone, because he, like looking back at it now, like too, like a lot of people at high school was like really insecure with him, because he was already like 6'1", like back in grade 8, and 6'1", 6'2", and he's a good looking guy, but he was like, yeah, and just everyone used to talk about him, and and
And I bet you all those people that talk about him, I bet he's doing so much better than all those people right now.
he's happy.
All those same people are sending him messages on his social media like, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, what's going on? Let's hang out
Nah, well, he's not
sometimes."
like that. He gets still, but for him, he's big. Once he gets his open license, he's gonna buy a Nissan GTR and just go back to the high school with it. And for me, I wanted to do that. I'm more of a Mercedes guy, more of a Merc, or like. But for me, I don't.
You like the luxury car.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I look at everything as a business point of view too. So when I go into cars, I'm not going to buy a car brand new. I'm actually going to go to auctions because my friends are also in car businesses. So we're going to be flipping the cars we drive as well. But
Yeah, I've been thinking about flipping houses here lately. It's been a thing in the back of my head because part of it is I had a friend that was kind of doing it, and then reading all of Robert Kiyosaki's literature made me really think about wanting to get into real estate and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know what I'll do with that, but yeah, I know what you mean. Flipping things is
yeah, I mean, like with you and your like investments, like you said before, you're already in a good position, and like depending how much like have you're bulked up, like like it's such an undervalued asset, and like if you like you said, I don't know the definition of what stacked up means to you, but if you've stacked up, you're already like a multi-millionaire. Just be patient with this type of stuff. Um, for me, like I'm just still working on myself, and like I have like an idea of where I want to go in life. And for me, like, and this is relating back onto the topic of like having a big you with like his Nissan GTR. For me, it's more about just working on like being happy with myself, and just yeah, like in the future I want to like get engaged. I want to travel around the world with my partner. I want to, get married. I want to have kids, and I just want to live a financially free life, but also every single day do something that I enjoy and something that I can take care of my family with. And for me, that's what I want now. It doesn't have to be like a big achievement, and I'm still trying to teach my brain that like achievements is like a byproduct of doing something you love. But I've been taught other way around, obviously being in an Asian background. So that's where I'm still working on myself to like what I've been conditioned to as a kid.
yeah, I gotcha, man. A little well, we kind of got off on a tangent there because we were talking about the weightlifting thing. I started doing stomach vacuums because of guess who?
Me?
You.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah. Well, see, I'd seen what is that bodybuilder that passed away some years ago? I think from drugs. He was super duper jacked. I mean, super jacked. And he had tattoos.
Oh, Rich Piano.
Yeah, Rich Piana. There was an episode that he had on there, and I'm super weird. I'm going to tell you this right now. People listening or watching are like, it's weird. I'm weird. I'm a weird guy. But I used to like to watch his stuff. I watched one of his episodes because on one of the episodes he had pizza. I just wanted to watch him eat the pizza because I'm like a weird food person. But he was on that episode. He was doing stomach vacuums. He was talking about how like it pulls your waist in and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, cool, interesting. And I kind of played around with it, and then I did. And then fast forward a couple years later, and then I watched one of your videos, and you were doing kind of like a tutorial of why stomach vacuums are good and stuff. And I started doing them, man. I do them like every single day. And I've actually now I'm starting to see a different type. Like my stomach's always been pretty decently defined, especially since I've been like weightlifting and stuff like that. But I'm starting to see a different type of definition in my abdomen now from sucking in. Like it's crazy. It's good though, man. My waist is starting to pull in a little bit more too. So thank you for that.
All goods, right? It's definitely. I started doing it when I was 17 years old, and what is it? And yeah, that's why I've always had a small waist. But I can always improve.
I don't even know the truth. Have you ever heard of I think is it Helio Gracie? He's one of the brothers that founded Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Well, I guess technically his father and stuff founded it, but he's like the older brother of Hoist Gracie. But he does this thing called fire breathing or belly fire or something, where he's like he sucks in and he's like moving his stomach all. You should watch a YouTube video. It's trippy, but like the way he can control his core and with breathing is so insane. He actually was in The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. There's the scene where Dr. Banner's trying to get his anger in control, and he's at a jujitsu gym, and he's sitting there Indian style with a guy, and that's when I think it's Helio, maybe it's
I've probably seen it.
but yeah, he's sitting there and he's like doing the belly breathing. He's teaching him how to breathe, and he's like slapping him in the face, and he's trying to breathe and like control his anger stuff. But yeah, that's wild. Like I was trying to play around with doing that the other day, and like it's to do the fire belly stuff would just take a great degree of control and stuff that I don't have yet. And I don't know if I even want to focus on trying to do it, but I do the stomach vacuums every day. So yeah, pretty cool, man. Have you now you've done modeling and stuff for like fitness stuff, but like have you actually competed in bodybuilding? Like actually done competitions?
Yeah. So I did men's physique and I did fitness modeling, and this was back when I was 17 years old. And I won my competition, and like I made it over to America. So like me being 17, yeah, like I could have gone to Las Vegas to compete, but I chose not to.
Why not? Why didn't you want to go?
Because like I would have had to like fork out the expenses, and and I really burnt myself out because I was doing YouTube. I was also going to Chinese school, trying to like learn Chinese, actually trying to like and get on top of my grades and stuff like that. And it was just all too much. And for me, like, and that's something I'm trying to like learn now as well, is like when I go through pain and when I'm going through, like all of like my down times, like I don't talk to anyone. Like I don't open up to people. And I'm like, I used to be like this, like suck it up, like just do it. I used to be like, I seem like a chill guy now, and I'm still learning, but like, when I was young, like I had really high expectations. Like I was to the point where I would like be starving myself. I'd train 3 times a day, and I would have nosebleeds. I would just gush out blood, and I would still like, there was no excuse for me. Like I could have like 3 hours of sleep. I'll still go to school, still do my assignment, still go to the gym, like with the flu, and still just get it done. Like I seem calm now, but like I used to be like a hardcore motherfucker. And I mean, I still am, but I'm still, that's the thing. I'm actually like trying to change like all of, because I think those are self-destructive habits, but yeah, I was just going through so much and I didn't open up. I put on a facade that everything is like good, but deep down, like I was cracking, like, I was like throwing up my food and all of that. And
This is while you're bodybuilding for competition. All of this stuff is going on. Dang, that's wild, bro.
I don't care. Like I was literally waking up and my hair was on my pillow. That's how much stress I was in. Like, and I would still do the work, and I would cry to myself and be like, all right, you've done crying, now suck it up and do it. Like, and that's something that I'm like, being in a relationship has like really like taught me to do, is like, hey, you can't do that now. That's not a healthy coping mechanism. Like, and obviously you can't do that in a relationship because it's on another person now. You have to also think about the other person. So for me, I don't have that type of like strategy, which is not a good strategy. But if you like look at like high performers, a lot of high performers do that as well. Like Steve Jobs and all of that. But for me, like, I realize I don't have to like overcompensate by becoming like a billionaire or something like that, or just even like that. I'm on track to like becoming a multi-millionaire. Like I can retire my whole family, but for me now it's like doing something that I love and just being happy, and I just really want to live every day with passion, and like be a good person for my partner and be a good person for my family, and that's the direction I'm going in life now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good direction. How do you juggle all the stuff that you're doing, trying to be an entrepreneur, and then I'm assuming you still keep up with your training. Obviously, you don't do
Yeah.
competitions, but you still work out, and then
Yeah.
obviously you juggle a relationship. You do a lot of stuff. You are a busy guy, you're a busy
Yeah.
man.
I'm very busy. Like when you try to like text me, it's not. I was not trying to blow you off. I'm just.
And plus, there's the 15-hour difference between you and me. So a lot of the times, if you didn't message back, I was just like, oh, you probably didn't get it. And I mean, dude, I felt super bad because you and me were supposed to have a conversation a couple weeks ago, not on my show, but just you and me. And I'll be 100% honest with you, I forgot. I just 100% forgot about it. I had stuff going on, and then when I realized, I didn't realize it till the day after, and I was like, wait a second, oh shit. Well, it wasn't the day after. It was the day of, but the day of for me, not for you, because you're 15 hours ahead. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I was supposed to talk to him yesterday to be able to talk to him today. And I was like, oh no. And I felt so bad, dude. I
Yeah. No,
apologize
that's
for that.
that's all good, right? That's all good.
Just
But yeah, I've
life
just
getting in the
been.
way, you know?
Yeah. And obviously like with these types of stuff now too, like which I'm juggling, it's more dealing with uncertainty. It's not dealing with stuff physically, which is like, which is a different game, but it's dealing with stuff emotionally now and psychologically, which is a whole different level. And that's what a lot of people like see too at the gym. I'm not trying to bag anyone out, but if you see a lot of people at the gym, they haven't worked on their mind and they're trying to like overcompensate. They're still insecure by like becoming big, but and that's what I used to do as a kid. Hey, I'm guilty of that, but now I'm like, I'm 20 years old. I'm like, hold on, like, you're going to this direction in life now. You have to really change up and like, face all of these stuff. And I started facing these types of stuff last year actually. But yeah, for me, it's just I'm juggling a lot of things, and yeah, it's definitely a whole different game emotionally.
Yeah, just be careful that the stuff that you juggle with is stuff that you want to and is conducive to a positive life. Because you also don't want to be one of those people that gets so busy that all it does is build stress on you. And it's like this, milestone on your neck dragging you down. You got to be careful with that too. Because all work and no play make Connery a dull boy.
Yeah, which I'm totally guilty of. But yeah, like I said, like sometimes you just have to focus on a few things that's why I say it's important to have like a long-term goal, like know where you're going, so that way you can cut off like all of the bull that's not going to serve you.
Absolutely. Do you so like you struggle with a lot, you wrestle with a lot of psychological and emotional issues. Do you go to any kind of like therapy? Do you see any psychologist or anything for any of that kind of stuff?
actually, that's what I'm saying. A few months ago, because back in May, I had to move back in with my mom because I put everything into investments. I'm like the type of investor where they say put 20% of your income in. I'm like, that. Like, I put 140%.
Yeah. Well, you said that earlier. You said when you were talking about the procedure on your face, you said, "Oh, I had all the procedures done." Because I'm the kind of guy, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do all of it. So that makes sense that you would put everything into your
So I'm
investments.
like, Dan Pena. Like, I've been listening, yeah, Dan Pena back in 2018. So I really took his approach. And so yeah, they say 20%. I'm like, that. I did 140 to 160%. I mean, I made back that money, and like I made net profit like 5 figures after tax. And that's still nothing compared to what I'm gonna make. But I'm like,
I'm super jealous of you right now.
don't be, just like I said, this is what I'm like. I realize that's what I'm passionate about. Like, I love investing.
No, I'm not jealous. You're inspiring me though. You're making you're making this tinker about some things right now.
Cheers, bro. Well, all my close friends are massive investors as well. So I mean, it's normal for me. I'm like, like when I meet my girlfriend's like friends and all that, and they don't like invest, I'm like, I thought like, I'm like, I don't judge him, but I'm like, I just try to like help him. Like, if you do this, you do this. Yeah, I educate them. Um, but yeah, I moved back in home. I moved back with my mum just to like, save so I can like, keep investing. But when I moved back at home, all of the cycle, because we've been in that house for 19 years now. Since like my parents separated, my mum has been working 3 jobs for the past like 18 years, like has not taken a holiday. Like, she's really like, yeah, really, really stuck it by, with us. And yeah, so yeah, moving back in, like, I literally just, all I can say is I just went through a lot, and I got to a point where I wanted to kill myself. Like, I had this voice in my head saying, go kill yourself. And that's when, like, when you go through your dark times and when you start acting up, that's when you realize, like, who's really in it there for you. And my girlfriend saw me at my darkest times, and she's still stuck by, with me. And so, like, I know, like, but anyways, yeah, I got all of the psychological trauma just hit me, and I thought I could handle it, did not. And that's why I moved back to Gold Coast. But yeah, and yeah, no, yeah.
Have you ever looked into try to do meditating?
Yeah, I used to do meditation, but when I started meditating back at home, I would have this different voice in my head saying, go kill yourself. And I literally had panic attacks that felt like MDMA highs. And they were so bad that I was gurning. And I had like 4 different voices in my head. So, for me, it was, but now that I'm out of that house, like, everything disappeared. So
Maybe the house was haunted. I don't
yeah,
know.
no,
I don't
I
know. I
think
don't
it
know if you
was just,
believe in that stuff, but I'm
no, no,
just
no, no.
saying.
Well, that's what I didn't want to say, but
No, you can say it. My sister lived in a haunted house. I'll say it right now. People, they can not believe me. I don't care if they believe me or not. I saw stuff and witnessed stuff. So
yeah, because actually as a kid, I would consistently, not just once, but consistently get nightmares so vivid that I still remember it to this day. And most of the nightmares were like they would reenact my mum getting killed in front of me, or it would like somebody like, like spirits living under the house, like kidnapping me and stuff like that. And when I moved back in, like I used to like see apparitions after, and like stuff like that. And I actually do believe like that house is haunted because I looked up the house history and I can't find anything.
oh god, it's like it's on top of a indigenous tribe burial ground or something like that, like the poltergeist. Yeah, isn't that the poltergeist, Matt? They're like the house is buried on an Indian burial ground or something like that. That's crazy, though. Well, I'm glad you got out of the house, then, man. You're not, and so
I'm
you don't.
still recovering. Like, I'm still rebuilding. Like, that really like shattered what I thought was a good mentality. And that was a good mentality. But now I'm like I said, it's how you react to things, and it's how you rebuild yourself. So that's what I'm doing. And that, like me going through all of that had a lot of strain with my relationship, but she still stuck by with me. And yeah, and I'm still rebuilding myself. Like,
Yeah, at some point too, it might not hurt. Like if you still have to deal with a lot of psychological issues, it might not hurt to get a little to get some therapy or something, just because you've been through so much and I can tell just by talking to you, you've had so much psychological damage just from things from growing up that you know, um, a little therapy couldn't hurt. I don't think.
yeah, I actually had my first therapy session like a week ago, but I just got to like book in the next few ones. But yeah, I started therapy. Like,
Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's really good for your mental health. Especially if you've had previous issues, which obviously you have. It's really good to kind of get it out there and just help the brain grow, help the mind kind of massage itself and stuff doing that. But yeah, dude. So I'm going to turn to the part of the show. I mean, I don't even know if I should really ask him this. He wrestles with a lot of stuff, and I feel like he's overcoming a shit ton of adversity in his own life. But just for the sake of the show, I ask people towards the end like what they personally right now specifically are wrestling with, and what is that? What do you think you're fighting with the most right now as we speak? And
for
it might
me
have been
right
stuff you already
now,
talked about, but if
well, no, well, I mean that's in the past, but like
okay.
for me right now, like it kind of like with me like 2 weeks ago. That's why like yeah, but for me like my what is it girlfriend, because she works in tourism. But I'm not gonna like go into specifics, but yeah, tourism. But yeah, we're gonna do like long distance, and so yeah, that's really been with me. But and I'm really out of my comfort zone, and but yeah, for me, that's something that's actually like happening right now as we speak. But
Yeah, I'm not an expert to say this, but obviously I can imagine that being a huge thing to in your head and all that stuff. One thing maybe you can use to like kind of alleviate that a little is like work on creative ways to connect with your girlfriend while you're gone. Like just tinker with like really crazy, wild, romantic, like movie type stuff to connect with her, and then work on like focusing on that stuff to kind of like alleviate the fact that she's going to be away for some time. You'll be physically separated, but you're
physically, but like emotionally, like we've already like worked out our game plan, and like what is it? I've already like it's either end of this year or early next year. I'm gonna be moving with her, so I'm gonna.
where are you moving? If I can, are you just
I don't want to. I don't want to go into specifics. Like I just want to, because it's like our personal private life. But it's essentially like I'm just working now just to build up my cash in the bank, and like I've hold off the investments, so that's already done. I mean, I gotta like yeah, I won't go into specifics of investments, but pretty much I'm just building up cash in the bank, and I'll be yeah, we'll be what is it? I'm willing to like work where she's working, and yeah, and just so pretty much at the end of the year or start of next year, and we'll try to find a place. So like I'm like yeah committed. Whatever I do, I'm committed. Like I'm 100% in.
are you going to be I'm deviating from the conversation a little bit. Are you going to be at the graduation in March in London?
In London.
Yeah, the graduation for the academy.
Like be there physically.
Yeah.
No, no. I'm
Aw.
just.
You're not going to come to
I
graduation.
mean, right now I'm just like the way I see it is like I know like the money I could use for the plane ticket, even though the money to go over there would be good for like networking and all of that, and like to see you obviously like in person. Like it's kind of like when for example, that $2,000 plane ticket, you can turn that into like you can like triple that money. Like why wouldn't you? Like I mean that's like yeah that's how my brain works. And yeah like when I like for now that's all I'm saying. Like whatever I focus on, I do it. I'm always in. So I said to like I said to myself, like if I have to starve for my investments, I would starve for it.
I feel the same way about that I do. I said the same thing. I was like, I'm not like at this point in my life, like I've literally thrown all like for me to chase the things I want to do, the stuff that Mitchell wants to do. I'll lose my home. I'll do whatever it takes. And like my significant other understands this and respects it. And even like she pushes me to live that life. Not to live on the street or whatever, but I'm saying pushes me to reach those brass rings, to grab those stars that I have for myself. And I'm not beyond moving out of the country, living on the street, like whatever it takes. Like, because at the end of the day, I don't want everyone to look back on my deathbed and be like, oh man, why didn't I try? I just wanted to stay all mediocre and live comfortably. Like, what if I would have did this? What would have happened? I don't ever want to sit back and think about that. And I'd rather have to have a stint on living on the street or something like that than to look back one day and regret. Because regret is the worst feeling you could ever have about anything in your life, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the way I see
Well, I
it
guess I
as
was just
well.
asking you because I just want to. I'd love to meet you in person one day. I'd really like to meet you, give you a hug, man, challenge you to a push-up battle.
Definitely in the future, like after COVID and all of that, like yeah, when my partner and I goes traveling.
I'm going to say to you, me and Dr. Mo, who's my really really good friend, from our class, our previous class. We made this joke about how when people that you're connected with, they're like, oh well, when you make it to the top, don't forget about me. And we were talking to each other about that, and he was like, yeah, man, if I make it to the top, whoever makes it to the top first, don't forget about the other person. So Connery, when you make it to the top, don't forget about me, bruh.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll definitely meet up in the future, bro. Like, just right now, I'm just focused on my partner now, and just being with her, and obviously, yeah.
I bet you're a very romantic person, just because of the way that you look at life and the way you go in 140% on everything that you do. So I can't imagine you applying that to romance and love. Like, that girl must just be fine, wined, and dine. You gotta marry this guy. Are you watching this?
I don't mean to be up myself, but yeah, she's like, she's
If she watches
really, really
this,
happy.
girl, lady, whatever, whoever your name is, you gotta marry this kid. He's crazy. He's good. He's awesome. Okay, in closing, I want to tell you this. If there's somebody watching, maybe a young kid, maybe somebody who went through the same that you went through. They're young, they're really hard on themselves, they have this self-image they can't live up to, maybe they're dealing with physical issues, they're overweight, or they have acne specifically. If they're watching this to you, if they were watching this, theoretically speaking, maybe they really are, maybe they're listening to this, what would you say to them right now? They're in school and they're like, man, I'm dealing with that. People are talking to me, they're bullying me, I've got bad acne, I hate myself, I think about wanting to harm myself and stuff like that. What would you say to this kid, this person that's listening?
All I'll say is just believe, and just dream big, and just do it. That's all I'll say, because a lot of people get caught up on like how you're gonna do it, but if you dream big and you just give it all you have, it's like what Dan Pena says: just do it. And that's gotten me so far in life, and it will take me so far in the future. And I'm just, like I said, like a lot of things I theoretically or logically shouldn't have achieved, but I just did it.
All right, I like it. And on that note about Dan Pena, he also says, "There's no you in team, but there is a you in." That's a real quote, Matt. Like, legit, that's what that guy says. But he's like this big billionaire guy. Anyway, that's wonderful, man. Anybody listening to this, if you listen to Connery's story and it means anything to you, then really take the things that he said, because it's very important in life to realize your self-worth and to not let other people get you down. And just like he said, believe and achieve and never give up. Connery, if you would like to plug in your social media or any business that you have, or anybody listening or watching that are interested in keeping up with you or buying anything you have to sell, plug in.
I mean, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's Connery Lee. Pretty much just CONNERYLE. From there, you can find my YouTube. You can find, my businesses. Yeah, Connery Lee. Simple as that.
Follow this guy. Love this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Wrestling Diaries, where we find out people's struggles. And we heard a lot of interesting talk today with my guest about the things that he wrestles with and how he is overcoming. He's still wrestling with stuff, but how he's kicking ass and he's inspired. And you should be inspired too. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, watch us on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share, download, donate if you'd like to keep this going and help us grow as a brand, as a channel to help reach people and to entertain people, you know, because we also have a lot of fun here. Like, I don't want people to think that this is just like, you know, people are wrestling with life, but we try to have fun and I try to be lighthearted about things to bring people in. So if any of this stuff means anything to you, then please check it out, share it. If Connery's story inspired you, then tell somebody about it. Let them listen to the show. Maybe it can change their lives. Maybe it could save someone's life. You never know. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, Connery, for taking the time.
Cheers.
And
Appreciate
your awesome schedule. His 15 hours ahead of me. He's up at 5 a.m. to do this show. I really appreciate him for that. And I appreciate you guys for listening and watching and supporting us. Tell me, what do you wrestle with and how can you beat it? One love from the Wrestling Diaries.